Hey guys, so today I have swatches of the Lights Lacquer Songs of the Siren quad. There are 4 new reflective polishes here. In addition to this quad, there's also a new peel-off base coat, so I will link the Lights Lacquer website down below where you guys can check everything out. I also have a coupon/affiliate code with Lights Lacquer, which will be on the screen and in the description box. 4 polishes here all together, and let's get into it. So I want to start with the Peel You Later Peel Off Base Coat, which just allows you to peel your polish off. This is a new product. So I found that this was a little bit thick. It was a little difficult for me to get a thinner coat on my nails, and that might also be why it seemed like it took a really long time to dry. Once it started to dry, it dried really quickly, but I feel like it took a while to start to dry. It still felt wet at 4 minutes, but then was completely dry in 6, so somewhere in between there. I also initially swatched this over my first polish and then forgot that I had put it down as a base and removed that polish with non-acetone remover while it was still wet, and you can see it like ripped up a layer of my nail, so don't do that. I did want to go back and test this again, so I put it under a polish, let it completely dry, top coated it, came back in the morning for this peel off, and by the next morning this actually peeled off pretty easily. I just lifted it a bit with the orange stick and then it popped right off. I had one little corner that didn't want to completely let go, but I didn't have any damage to my nail bed after letting everything fully dry and peeling it off like you're supposed to. With the peel off base coat, you're always sacrificing the longevity of your manicure for ease of removal. I think it's really convenient for something like a chunky glitter that is just such a pain to scrub off of your nails. Or if you're changing your nail polish every single day, this is also a really good method, but if you want your polish to last a good amount of time, a peel-off base coat is not the best idea. But I think as long as you don't forget that this is on your nails and take the polish off, you shouldn't have any problems. This is a solid peel-off base coat. The first polish is called Siren Songs, and this is described as a translucent mauve pink jelly with a reflective glitter finish. So I am swatching this on its own, and this is over the peel-off base coat. This was my failed experiment, so this is the only one that's over that peel-off base coat. I'm swatching it on its own. The website does say that it's best used as a topper, but none of the photos seem to explicitly be over another polish. The French manicure one might be, but I think this is pretty much shown on its own on the website as well. So here we are. The glitter here is a bit sparse, but it does build up pretty nicely in 3 coats. Obviously sheer, and depending on your preference, it may not be your thing, but I think this could stand alone on its own pretty well. Good formula, not thick at all, but will dry textured. It's not going to be super textured because again, the glitter is pretty sparse, but there will definitely be some grittiness. So that is 3 coats of Siren Songs on its own and then also under flash. The next polish is called Sea Nymph, and this is a violet jelly with a fine blue shimmer and a reflective glitter finish. So this is a bit more dense with the reflective glitter. It also has a slightly more opaque jelly base and that blue shimmer, so you're going to get a little bit more coverage out of this one. Formula feels pretty good. It does start to build up here pretty well in the second coat, but is still fairly sheer. And this builds up pretty well in 3 coats. It is still slightly sheer, which is not really showing super well on camera, but I could see my nail line just a little bit. I also found this just a little tiny bit patchy after 3 coats, but it's not showing that super well on camera. So that is 3 coats of Sea Nymph and also under flash. I didn't notice a real bright glowing blue shimmer until I got this under the flash, and then it really stands out. The next polish is called Shape of Water, and this is described as a deep ocean blue jelly with a reflective glitter. This is sheer on the first coat. Formula feels okay. I did feel like it went on a little bit patchy here. Again, not showing quite as bad on camera as it was in person. The color does start to build up here in the second coat, and the glitter is obviously getting a bit more dense as well, but it is still fairly sheer. This was kind of taking forever to dry, so I did end up with a slightly thicker third coat, which I think saved some of that patchiness, and it is still a little bit sheer. You can see my nail line there fairly clearly. So that is 3 coats of Shape of Water on its own and also under the flash. And the last polish is called Succubus, and this is described as a magenta jelly with a fine blue shimmer and a reflective glitter finish. I feel like the formula of this one was trickier. It was definitely on the thicker side, which I feel like it shouldn't have been feeling that thick for how sparse the glitter is. It went on a bit patchy and it didn't level out super well. It did start to build up nicely in the second coat. It wasn't super sheer here, and the blue shimmer does stand out well, but I felt like I needed a lot of polish because of how thick it was to get it to spread out evenly over my nail. You can see me kind of struggling to get this third coat to cover everything as well, and after this is done, it is pretty uneven and a bit like, I don't want to say lumpy, but like kind of lumpy. Top coat did solve that, but I didn't love this one. I don't feel like this was good. So that is 3 coats of Succubus on its own and under the flash. Okay, so for these comparisons, I kind of had to completely take the reflective glitter element out because there are the only Lights Lacquer that I know of that have reflective glitter in them. There might actually be other ones that have reflective glitter mixed in. I don't remember, but these are the first ones that I know of that are predominantly reflective glitter. I just looked for things that were glittery and a similar shade, not necessarily considering the reflective properties. So the first one here is Siren Song. This is Drama Queen. This is obviously much more opaque. It's a little bit more of a bright pink. It's not a bright pink, but it's brighter than Siren Song, which is a little bit more muted. And these are holographic flakies, so they're going to dry completely flat and smooth and reflect much more in the sunlight. So nothing close there. For Shape of Water here in the middle, I have our Mermaids Not Sweet, which is a much more muted, slightly greeny blue holographic flaky with a gold shimmer, so nothing remotely close there. This one is Down in Kokomo. This leans much more green, has some iridescent flakies to it, and again, none of that reflective glitter. And then this is where we really went off the rails. I put Succubus and Sea Nymph together. Succubus here and Sea Nymph here. And then this is Leo, which is almost metallic. It's very like orangey red with a pink shimmer, not close. It just like looked kind of sparkly, so I grabbed it. I was kind of desperate for comparisons at this point. This one is Libra. This is a chunky holographic glitter in a red, slightly pink jelly base. So again, nothing even remotely close. I did want to put these two together just so you could see the color difference. Very cool, very warm. No dupes, just by the nature of the finish being new to the brand. So not my favorite collection. If I have to pick a favorite out of here, I would probably say Siren Songs, because I think performance-wise, that one was the best. I think it's versatile enough to use as a topper or wear on its own. It's not so sheer that it couldn't also go alone on 3 coats. I think that looks fine. Overall, not my favorite collection, but I would have to say that Siren Songs is probably my favorite. So that is the Lights Lacquer Songs of the Siren quad. Again, I will link that website down below where you guys can check those out because those did come out today. I also have a coupon/affiliate code for Lights Lacquer, which will be on the screen in the description box, and you can always use it on something else if you don't love these. It always feels a little weird plugging an affiliate code when I didn't really care for the collection, but what are you gonna do? So hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later.